Previously on Vampire the Masquerade, Big Easy by Night. Laissez les bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. Despite the restrictions imposed by the coronavirus, New Orleans was still flush with tourists in town for Mardi Gras. The bars may have been closed last weekend, the parades may have been cancelled, but that hadn't stopped the party. The times were indeed good. Neonate vampire Mia Bianchi received a late call from her friend Sarah. A strange man had attacked her in her apartment laundry room, warning her that he knew what kind of person Mia was, and soon everyone would know. Johnny Morrow, one of Mia's business partners, received a call from his probation officer Susan. She had also been attacked by someone claiming to know what kind of monster Johnny was. The attacker, a young teen, wanted $50,000 from Johnny in exchange for silence. Mia called her coterie to her office, in actuality the penthouse of the five-star hotel she oversaw. Someone was trying to blackmail her. Johnny suggested that anyone who wanted $50,000 from him had to know he was part of a group, since he personally didn't have resources like that. Their partner, Dayyan Hassan, wondered if they had screwed up a contract and made an enemy. Mia suggested perhaps it was the opposite. They had successfully completed a contract and made an enemy. Before they could investigate, they were contacted by Izzy de Larisso, the primogen of Clan Melcap. She had heard of their reputation for cleaning up messes and wanted to hire them. She set up a meeting with a Melcavian ancilla named Max Bowden at the Buzzard, a dive bar popular among those kindred not prestigious enough to get into the Succubus Club. Mia would have preferred to focus on Sarah's attacker, but the chance to impress a primogen was not an opportunity she could turn down. Conveniently, the Buzzard was on the way to Sarah's. Max Bowden was a former bootlegger from the days of Prohibition. He was experienced enough that he could have been primogen, or even prince, but no one liked an asshole, and Max was exactly that. He had a problem. He had been caught on camera feeding from a young girl and was being blackmailed. He couldn't risk the tape getting out. Even if people didn't believe he was a vampire, it made him look like an entirely different kind of predator, and he wasn't that. He'd just been starving and in need of vitae. If they helped him, he would owe them a major boon. For the moment, the coterie were willing to help. They didn't much like Max, but odds were good all of them were being blackmailed by the same person. They left the Buzzard and headed for Sarah's apartment. While Mia searched the laundry room, Johnny and Dayyan got word from their private investigator, Marvin, that someone had left him a cryptic voicemail. "We see you. Watch the digging." The two kindred made sure their vehicles weren't bugged and kept an eye out for anyone watching them. Inside the apartment building, Mia found an ID badge belonging to Sarah's attacker, a man named Steve Jensen, that had been ripped off during the assault. More troubling, Mia also found a video camera full of footage of Sarah. Someone had been spying on her for months. The only lead they had was Dark Hour Security, the firm that Jensen was employed at. Heading across town, they found the building in the warehouse district. As they approached, a car in an adjacent parking lot suddenly sped away. Mia and Johnny gave chase, while Dayyan stayed behind to disable any alarm system that might have brought police attention. Forcing the fleeing car to spin out, the two young vampires confronted their foes. Two men got out of the car, armed with a bat and a baton, ready for a fight. Mia gave them a glimpse of the monster she barely kept contained, intimidating them into giving up and telling her everything they knew. They'd been hired anonymously by a man named Redwood to take pictures of them. Johnny, meanwhile, had realized that the driver of the car was the young teen who had broken Susan's arm. The beast rose and almost took over. Johnny broke the girl's arm, a measure of justice, before throwing her into the back seat of the car and roughly drinking her blood. She would never forget the horrors of this night. Back at Dark Hour, Dayyan discovered that the security firm had no security system. Even the front door wasn't locked. The building interior was empty, save for a table, some chairs, an old CRT monitor for viewing security footage, and a mini fridge. His investigation was interrupted by Jensen, the hired goon tossing a tear gas grenade into the room before advancing with his pistol. Catching Jensen's gaze, Dayyan used his mental disciplines to command the thug to remove his gas mask and toss his pistol, before sitting down in the middle of the tear gas cloud. Overcome by the tear gas and the mental compulsion, Jensen freely gave up everything he knew. He'd met Redwood at a bar called 21st Amendment. Redwood had provided the building, security and photography equipment, and was paying them with cryptocurrency to take pictures of certain named targets, Sarah and Susan. Unlike the others, Jensen believed Redwood's warning that the coterie were dangerous vampires. When Mia returned to Dark Hour with Johnny, she wanted Jensen hurt for what he had done to Sarah, but daylight was fast approaching, and Jensen's punishment could wait for another night. The coterie returned to their penthouse haven to rest.